All the way back to the pre-draft process, up until this point of the season, 6'10" Houston Rockets big man Alperen Şengün remains one of my favorite rookies. And that's because for a big man, I think his game is just so unique in a sense that it's kind of old school yet new school at the same time. Şengün loves to play in the low post despite post-up bigs being rare in this space-in-space era of the NBA, but at the same time, he also has the vision and savvy playmaking ability which totally fits the skill set of a modern NBA big man. This is probably where the usual Nikola Jokic or Domantas Sabonis comparisons come from. But for sure, although Şengün was the MVP of the Turkish league as an 18-year-old, most analysts expected his transition to the faster pace of the NBA to take some time, which is definitely okay since the Houston Rockets don't seem to be in a rush with the team's rebuild. But here's the thing, so far, Şengün looks pretty good already, especially for a rookie who was drafted outside of the lottery. After having played 64 games in the NBA, the Turkish big man is averaging 9.1 points, 5.1 rebounds, 2.4 assists, and 1 block while shooting 47.1% from the field. Well, those numbers aren't eye-popping at all, but considering Şengün is only averaging less than 20 minutes played per game and that it's only as of late that he's been getting some consistent heavy playing time, there's obviously a legitimate intrigue as to how much more this guy can produce once he becomes the full-time starting big man for the Houston Rockets. Cause even as a rookie, Şengün is already an elite passing big man, a devastating post-up force, and a very efficient scorer in isolation. So what's good guys, it's Real Balls here again, and today we'll look into the crazy skill set of Alperen Şengün and why it could actually propel him into becoming one of the NBA's top big men. But before we continue, if you guys happen to enjoy the content, you can show your support for the channel by hitting that like button or by clicking that subscribe button. It only takes a second of your time, but it will be much appreciated. So let's get to it. As we already know, teams today consider it important to have a big man who has some good passing vision and creativity. Of course, not every center can be a Nikola Jokic type of playmaker, but so far, even as a rookie, believe it or not, Alperen Şengün already projects to be much closer to the gold standard of playmaking bigs than expected. Well, currently, he's only averaging 2.4 assists per game, which isn't mind-blowing at all, but it's when you look at the advanced statistics when you'll see how much of a playmaking machine Şengün actually is. Cause currently, his 19.0 assist percentage already ranks as the 6th best mark among all NBA big men, and in fact, the 5 guys ahead of him on the list are Nikola Jokic, Julius Randle, Joel Embiid, Domantas Sabonis, and Kelly Olynyk. That's a list which includes 2 potential MVP frontrunners and 2 other all-star level big men. Well, this is really impressive considering Şengün is only a rookie and considering he's not even a first or a second option for his team. And sure, we can talk about the numbers all we want, but it's actually when you watch him play when you'll see what the fuss over Şengün's passing ability is all about. Cause when he has the ball, you'll see that Şengün is just someone who slings passes all over the floor with reckless abandon. You'd mostly see him distribute the ball from the perimeter, but the thing is, he's not just limited to making plays out of simple dribble handoffs. Unlike most big men, Şengün has great vision and ambidextrous passing ability which he uses to find cutting teammates and to dish out dimes to them out of abnormal angles. Just like here, Şengün has the ball in the elbows. He doesn't have a passing window, so he just decides to create one. He takes one dribble, then watch him act as a back screener with the ball for Josh Christopher. Now that Christopher has an open driving lane, Şengün just dishes out the well-timed one-handed bounce pass to him for the dunk. Then here, watch how quickly Şengün processes actions on the floor. First, you see him creating the impression that he's gonna run a dribble handoff for Armoni Brooks. This catches the defense off guard, so right there and then, Şengün sees an open lane, so he takes advantage of it by dishing out another bounce pass to the cutting Josh Christopher for another easy finish. Well, Şengün can throw those kinds of passes from the perimeter, but get him on the low block and he'll probably do something more impressive. If he draws a double team in the paint, he'll most definitely make defenses pay by finding his teammates in ridiculous ways. Just like here, watch Şengün operate in the low post. You see him using his trademark baseline spin which literally forces the triple team underneath the basket, but then watch him just casually deliver the one-handed no-look behind the back pass to Christian Wood who then finishes the play. Here, Şengün is again on the low block and you can see him reading the floor. He attacks using the quick drop step but he sees the double team coming, so he just throws the overhead pass to Christian Wood who who then hammers the ball down at the rim. Well, sure, as a rookie big man who loves to make those kinds of fancy passes, Sengun is still prone to committing turnovers at 4.8 turnovers per 100 possessions. However, considering that the Rockets are in the midst of a rebuild, you'd easily understand why they're still very much willing to put the ball in Sengun's hands. But I think what's even crazier is that even if you take away his passing lanes, Sengun would still most likely remain productive on offense, and that's because so far, Sengun is able to score on a whopping 65.1% of the time he has the ball in isolation situations. That already ranks in the 98th percentile of the entire NBA, but at the same time, the 1.09 points per possession that he produces in isolation situations also ranks in the 86th percentile of the entire league. Well, sure, those numbers seem too good to be true for a rookie, but it's also easy to see why Sengun is just so productive as an isolation scorer when you watch him play in the low post. Currently, Sengun's 21.6 post-up percentage is the 8th most in the NBA, and from the low post, he displays the uncanny ability to combine pivots, shot fakes, spin moves together with a soft touch and some nice footwork in order to torch his defenders. Well, I think one indication of being an advanced NBA level post scorer is the ability to have counters when defenders try to stop you on your tracks, and to be fair, Sengun probably has all the counter moves that a big man needs to dominate the post. Just like here, Sengun first tries to spin to the right, but he's denied by Jeff Green, so he backs his man down a bit more. Then again, he goes to the right, but this time he counters with a shot fake, then he pivots before ultimately finishing with a nice left-handed below the rim shot. Here, coming off a dribble handoff play, Sengun goes straight to the post, and from there, he decides to create his own shot. He backs down his defender, then just watch the combination of footwork and shoulder work that he puts together, which again sets up his trademark left-hand finish. Overall, Sengun is averaging 2.2 post-ups per game, and out of all 67 players to average at least one post-up per game this season, Sengun's 52.1 field goal percentage out of post-up plays actually ranks in the 70th percentile of the entire NBA. But the thing is, even when he's not functioning from the post, Sengun has also displayed some nice scoring flashes out of face-up possessions coming from the perimeter, which again also contributes to his high-efficiency isolation numbers. Well, I think Sengun's handle is still currently a mixed bag, but again, you can just see that the flashes of good self-creation are already there thanks to his ability to get to the rim by overpowering defenders using his strength and solid footwork for a big man. Just like here, Sengun gets the ball right at the top of the key, then just watch him attack in space. He puts his body right into his defender's hip, enabling him to just back Blake Griffin down before he goes back to his usual one-handed finish at the rim. Then here, watch Sengun launch his attack from behind the arc. He starts with a straight line dribble, then he suddenly stops and pivots to the right, which catches his man off guard. Then you can see him just spin the other way as he makes another easy shot. Well, I think this is the beauty of Alperen Şengün's game. He can beat defenders using either strength or finesse. He can play bully ball but also make use of his nice footwork and soft touch. Right now though, the ultimate swing skill that could propel Sengun to a whole nother level as an offensive player is his outside shooting. Sengun is only shooting 23.9% from deep on 1.5 attempts per game, and because of this, defenses still aren't guarding him like he's a floor spacer the majority of the time, and so the goal is definitely for him to be a consistent outside shooter moving forward in order for opposing teams to stay honest when approaching the Rockets' offense. But when you watch him play, you can see that Sengun already displays a nice shooting stroke from deep, which could definitely be an indicator of his future growth as a long-range weapon. And aside from that, he also seems to know how to place himself in ideal situations for him to be able to easily launch his outside shot, and that is usually by acting as a screener in pick-and-pop situations. Just like here in semi-transition, you see Sengun trying to set a pick for Dennis Schroeder. Schroeder rejects the screen and you see the defense going into a really deep drop. Sengun is left alone at the top of the key, and so coming off the pass, he then hits the wide open three. Then again here, you see Sengun setting a middle screen for Kevin Porter Jr. Once Porter Jr. starts to probe the defense, Sengun simply slides back to the three-point line. Porter Jr. finds him and he just makes the defense pay for the late closeout by draining the three-pointer. Also, another thing I like about Sengun is that despite most people predicting him to be a hard sell on the defensive end at the NBA level right off the bat, that actually hasn't been the case so far, as Sengun has shown that he's capable of being an aggressive defender. While his average hip mobility still gives him trouble when guarding much quicker players in traditional drop pick and roll coverages, but despite that, he's shown that he's got enough lateral quickness to prevent drives and that he can also utilize his active hands and great timing to stifle opponents, especially inside a painted area. Overall, Sengun's 1 block per game average ranks 3rd among all rookies, only behind Evan Mobley and Isaiah Jackson. Here, watch Şengün guard the much quicker Killian Hayes coming off the switch. You see Şengün displaying some solid lateral movement before eventually timing his jump for the nice block. Then again here, you can see Şengün playing the cat and mouse game really well. Coming fresh off the handoff, RJ Hampton drives to the rim, but watch Şengün go toe-to-toe with him using his size and nice vertical timing to eventually block Hampton without fouling. Well, at this point, as is usually the case with most young players, it's still hard to predict Alperen Şengün's ceiling. But again, going back to the flashes and the skill set that he's been displaying, I think it isn't hard to see why Şengün could easily end up as a real special type of big man, and why a lot of Rockets fans actually believe that he is without a doubt the team center of the future. So thank you guys if you made it this far into the video, and what do you think of Alperen Şengün? Feel free to drop your thoughts in the comment section below, and again, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing as well. Again, this is Real Balls, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.